having fun with Bushisms. Bryan Whatley, having fun with Bushisms.
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, guests, honored guests. It is great to have you here. As you might have noticed, coming down into the parking lot, there's some politicking going on. There's people holding signs for the next new president. And as some of you might know, I actually served in Iraq, and I was in Baghdad International Airport whenever President Bush arrived to give out Thanksgiving dinner. President Bush, over his last 8 years of presidency, has had to give numerous speeches. Luckily, he has what's called a speechwriter and teleprompters. So all he really has to do is read from the written word at the page. But it's those times that he steps away from that written word that we get to have fun with. And in a high-stress society today of economy, of oil, of all other problems going on, having fun is very important. And because Mr. Bush, a good friend who I like to call W, steps away from there to answer reporters' questions, to talk to people. And as we all know as Toastmasters, it's not quite easy to do that. Sometimes it's a little nerve-wracking. Sometimes you forget words. Sometimes you add words. And we all know he's famous for adding words, coming up with things off the top of his head. If I was to compile a list of things that he says, and it's those quirky little moments of his speech that he steps away from to give us fun, it's called Bushisms. If you go to YouTube, if you go to anywhere else, you've probably seen this on CNN where he's added words, where he's had fun with it. And so if I was to actually interview him with some of these hard-hitting questions about some of the Bushisms that have been labeled up underneath him, for example, healthcare. When asked about the healthcare system, he said, "We've got a problem in America. You see, too many good docs are getting out of the business today. We need a place where OBGYNs can practice their love for women all across this here great nation." Well, I sure hope that my wife doesn't go to that OBGYN. When asked about gun law, he says, "I believe we should raise the price that juveniles should get a gun." My thought was maybe we should just keep it away from the vice president. I have a son. One of the great things about him is seeing him in his smiling face in all that he eats 24 hours a day. Asked about starving kids in America, and he says, "You're working hard to put food on your family." Well, he's not wearing it, trust me, he's eating it. I also like to make sure that he's reading well, and he is getting everything that he can out of his education. Mr. Bush believes that reading, there's a good thing about books. You see, sometimes they have some fantastic pictures. Well, I can't really blame him on that one. We all know that Iraq has been a big part of his presidency. Throughout the time that he's been in there, it's still going on. It's still in the thoughts of our minds. When asked when we can leave, he says, "It's going to take time to restore chaos." Well, if he works for our word, chaos comes quickly. It's not that difficult. When asked about what he likes to do for hunting and fishing, he replies back with, "I believe that human beings and fish can coexist peacefully." Okay, well that's a new one to me, because I happen to love bass fishing and trout, and getting the food in their belly. Also with Iraq, if asked about questions with that, he believes strongly with what he believes, and he'll tell you that. "I believe what I believe." And that's great. I'm glad that we have a president who believes what he believes. And he believes that war is a dangerous place. Well, actually, I can contest to that, because war is a dangerous place. And he also believes that I believe if you know what you're saying, it's a lot easier to answer questions. And I'm just not good at answering questions. Well, okay, that's fine. So we give him easy questions. We give him questions about what does people think about him and his whole legacy of being a president. And he says, "When it's all said and done, I want people to know that I'm a strategic thinker, that I can focus on strategy. Strategy, really. When asked how we can fix the problem in Iraq, he quotes, "You see, we need to get rid of the recruiting tools, the recruitments made possible by the resentment." I'm not quite sure what recruitments is, but that's okay. I'm going to go with him. Because he believes if you don't stand for anything, you're not standing for something. If you don't stand for that, you're not standing for anything. Well, a lot of times I'm just sitting here trying to stand next to him and see what he is talking about. President Bush has a stressful life. The next president, as we move forward into history, that's what this next presidency is going to be about. It's history. You have to realize that no matter what else goes on, we have to have fun. And I thank the president. I thank him for those times that he steps away from his speech to give us these Bushisms for us to chuckle about. Because I know my day sometimes gets stressful. I know and I'm sure that your day gets stressful. So think about all that he has done, all that he has given us. And you know, sometimes books, you have some fantastic pictures.